Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here on the podcast. This is just the beginning. It's been quite a while since I've done a solo episode because my last one was with my best friend Nila from Austria. If you haven't listened to that one, I do recommend listening to it. I have to say now, I didn't really, I did put it in the description, but I didn't say at the beginning of the episode that it's a 56-minute long episode, so it's an hour long because when we were editing it and listening to it back, we thought, let's just like publish it raw and just completely us because that's what we're like. We just ramble for ages about topics like self-care. And I just decided just to, just release it and just not edit it. So that's kind of what happened with the last episode, if you were wondering why it was so long. But yeah, I hope you have listened to it. And I think that kind of episode to listen to just two girls rambling, a bit wine drunk after only a couple of glasses of wine. But it was a very sunny afternoon. We was at a pub beforehand. And, because, yeah, we lost like half of our recording when we were out. So we had to redo it when we had a couple of glasses of wine. So, that's why it's a bit chaotic at the start. But, it's fine. We move on. I just wanted to kind of come on here to talk to you guys about something that's been on my mind a lot. I mean, I've talked about this quite a lot, and this is something that I've only just realised is a really big deal for me. And it's taken me a long time to realise it because it's been in my mind for, what month is it now? It's only May. So it's been on my mind since September, not just gone, but it's September last year. And if you can kind of deduct from that, yeah, this is about uni again. And it's so scary for me to properly put this out there. And I've just published a blog post about it. So if you haven't read that yet, I suggest you read that first before coming over to the podcast because I'm just kind of delving into this deeper here. I'm not quite sure this is going to be a long episode though, just because it's currently 10 p.m. and I'm tired, but I just really need to get this out there right now. But yeah, so right now, I guess, it's currently Wednesday and university started back for term 3 on Monday. And you guessed it, I've not gone back. And I say this literally every term or every weekend or every break I have from uni. The day it comes to go back, I dread it so much. And it's only taken me almost 2 years now to realize like why that is. And if you've listened to some of my episodes from a few months back, you will know that in January I had one of the worst breakdowns about uni ever. And yeah, okay, you can blame part of it on my pill and my hormones, I guess. That's what a couple of people have said. But when you're hormonal, you don't make stuff up. And any feeling you ever feel, whether you're drunk, you're hyperly emotional, hyperly aware, you're hormonal, whatever the reason is, like the things you're feeling are still valid. Like your body doesn't make stuff up. Sorry, your brain doesn't make stuff up. So if you ever feel like that, like you wake up the next morning and you might have been drunk and you've been crying to a friend at a party or someone you don't even know, and you feel the sense of guilt afterwards, and you're like, why did I cry about that? That's not a big deal, or I was just being stupid. No, that's how you were feeling at that moment in time. Like, yeah, sure, you might have had too many tequila shots, but like it's just one of those things in my mind. But I've decided just to kind of delve into this topic deeper because the thought of dropping out of uni is something that a lot of people do not talk about. And, or if they do talk about it, they think it's a really easy decision of just, oh yeah, I just dropped out. And I think the people who do that are those people who drop out quite soon on into their course, maybe like before Christmas or just after Christmas. You know what I mean? It's kind of really soon on, and it's kind of like the first feeling they feel about it, and then they just go, yeah, I'll just quit. And for me, like, I'm not a quitter, and I definitely go for things that I want. And since I was very young, I have always been a very academic, very studious, very driven person. And not just in academics, but everything I've done other than ballet. Like, I did do dance at school, and I was pretty good at dance. But when I was younger, I did ballet, and apparently I hated ballet so much. Like, I'd cry in every class we went to. And I know that I cry a lot now, but apparently it was like tantrums at age 4 or whatever. And the only regret I have in life is having that reaction, because I look back and I'm like, I love dance and I still dance now occasionally, and I love watching dance videos on YouTube. And I just keep saying to my mum, like, why didn't you be that really pushy mum and just made me do it? Because then I might be a dancer right now. You know what I mean? That's the only regret I have in life. But it's not really a regret. It's like, what could have happened if I did carry on with that? But it's no one's fault. I was a kid, so I try not to think about it too much. But I'm like, I would have loved to be a ballet dancer, but that didn't happen. And kind of coming on from that, like, a lot of us have dreams, okay? Not a lot of us, all of us have dreams in life, and throughout our life, we have dreams. And I don't know about you, but I've had many dreams in my life. And, when you're a kid, you dream of like your future life to be a ballet dancer, a doctor, a paramedic, a firefighter, an astronaut. You know what I mean? There's all these wild, crazy dreams, which aren't wild and crazy if you actually strive and go for them. And I've been in this mind for so long about dreams and about, oh, if you lose touch with your dreams, you've got to find it again. You've got to find that spark for your dreams. And how old was I? I think I was about 12. It was kind of when I started senior school, high school, whatever you want to call it, about 12 years old. And as soon as I started studying languages, I knew that that was the path I was going to go down. And I was that kid at school that just loved learning languages. I learned Spanish and German, hated French. I really hate French, don't know why. No discrimination, but I just really don't like French. I even studied Latin and I studied Greek at one point, and that's ancient Greek as well. So quite intense. And we, as a family, tried to learn Portuguese for a bit because we holiday there quite a lot. And yeah, that didn't work out either, but I feel like I could just sit and learn Portuguese. But anyway, so I guess from what you can hear from me talking is that I still love languages so much, and that is what I chose to do my uni course as. I knew that I was going to do languages, whether I combine that with something else or I was going to do it straight or whatever. Loads of people were telling me different things, like my mum was telling me to combine it with law or business, like a really steady course to combine it with. But then my teachers at school were saying, no, just do German, for example. So then, like, you can then add stuff afterwards, just so you've got like your languages. And companies love people who study languages because you're so versatile and you're so, I don't know, just gives you so many skills. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna do languages. As soon as I saw Warwick, I was like, I'm going there. I think I was 16. Don't know why. I mean, because for so long, right, so going backwards a bit, so another dream of mine, following on from that, was to travel. And I had this whole idea of university as well, where I think I must have watched some like vlogs on YouTube when I was younger and of people going to university, and I just romanticized that, even though that wasn't a thing back then. But I just absolutely romanticized the shit out of uni, and I just could not wait to go. And my dad in particular knew that, like, he just saw how excited I was to go to uni, until I was about 16 and everything changed. COVID happened, which changed me into a completely different person. My eating disorder happened. Like, so many different things just came crashing down on me that I just completely lost sight of my dreams because I didn't have the energy to think about them. I didn't have the energy to think about life after school, because at that point school was just getting through the day, because of my mental health, and because we were in COVID and we were doing exams week in, week out, because I don't know if you're from England or whatever, but we had to do like teacher assessed exams instead of like proper like end of year exams. So when you're 18, your last exams at school, like big exams, we didn't get to do them because of COVID. Still don't really understand why. But so that was just more stress on us. So it was just kind of like getting through the day, getting through the exam, and especially with my own struggles added on top, that was just like such a torment. And teachers were lucky if I were at school, because I just did not go. I just could not go to school. So the days I did go, and even the mornings I had to go, because I'd go some mornings and just come home straight away because I just couldn't do it. And looking back, that's kind of funny, but no, I was struggling way more than I thought I was at the time, because you just don't think about it. But anyway, so because of all of that LE drama, I guess you could call it, I'm not invalidating it. I'm just, looking back. That's kind of all I want to say on that. But I just didn't think about uni. And the only thing that was in my mind, like I remember in August, and I've said this before, I said to my parents, I think this was like before our results day, so before we got our exam results, and I wasn't worried about getting good grades or not. Like I knew I'd got good grades, and I wasn't worried about getting into the university at all. Like I knew I had, without like being that kind of person. But I wasn't worried about that, because I just didn't care what grades I got at the end of the day. But I knew I was going to get good grades anyway. But like a week before, so the beginning of August, I remember I was crying at dinner and I said, I'm not going to uni. And my parents kind of looked at me like, shit. But my mum kind of saw that coming because I was like, I'm not in the right state to go to uni right now. I can't look after myself. And I think my mum had been waiting for me to say that, or was going to say that herself. But then results day came, all the celebrations came. I think we went on holiday as well. Like, just so much happened from saying that I just went and I didn't think about it again. And it was just so like surreal to me that I was just there. And suddenly it was my move-in day and I just moved in and I never thought about it. It was just like, oh, I'm here. Because like we had been given like nothing about what to do if you don't want to go to uni. And my best friend hasn't gone to uni, and she hates school. Like she hates exams, she hates studying. And I get that. I honestly get that. Like I didn't think I was that person, but she just knew from probably like age 16, 17. Like she probably never knew, but from definitely sixth form, she was like, I'm not going to uni. And she made that decision. But our school, because we went to a private school, right? So they were pressuring us so much to go to uni. And I felt so bad for her because she still had to sign up to all of these seminars that we were doing and all the open days. And she was like, look, I'm not going. And they just didn't get that. So she was very annoyed at that. And only now am I starting to see how bad that was, that they were just forcing it down our throats. And we had like one seminar about like apprenticeships, but that was it. There was nothing like what you can do instead, and not anything like you don't have to go to uni or any of that. Like it's not the end of the world. But that's just been drilled into us. Like everyone goes to uni, I feel like. And I don't think that's healthy because a lot of people don't think about it. They just go, oh, I have to go to uni, I'm gonna go, and that's the end of it. And with me, I think a lot of it was also like, yeah, societal pressure and definitely loads of pressure from school. And I just went, but it wasn't necessarily pressure. Like that was my dream from like age 12. So what, 8 years I've had this dream. And I never knew that I'd lost sight of it at probably age 16. And looking back now, I'm like, shit, yeah. And I haven't actually thought about this until saying it right now, but shit, yeah, it's not like I've just lost sight of this dream, because the past couple of days, that's what I've been thinking. But no, I've just never wanted to go since like the day I had to go. And as I said before, like every term I had to go back, I just didn't want to go back. And when I had my first big breakdown at the end of term one in first year, my parents did not think I was going back because I came home like 2 weeks early, and they were like, she's not going back. But then I just went back. I didn't think about it. I was like, no, I'm going back today. And yeah, then that night I'd have a breakdown and want to come home, and then I usually did. Like, you know what I mean? It was just like, I just never wanted to go. And my parents just said, just get through first year. So I did. In the summer, again, came the time when I didn't want to go back. And again, over summer, I remember I was working at the time. I was just kind of getting together with my boyfriend now, was going on a date or something. And I sent him a message like, I was meant to meet up with him, and I was like, I can't today. I'm in this really low mode because of like what I'm feeling about uni. And he was like, oh. And yeah, but then I went back again. But my parents kind of saw that. I think, thinking about it now, they were like, oh yeah, she didn't really want to go at all, but she went. And only now are they starting to piecing it together as well. Because last term, I mean, it's been easier this year. Don't get me wrong, like I've been way more social because my recovery path has allowed me to do that. And the social side has been definitely the main advantage. Like that's been the only positive. And I went back, I changed up my course a bit so that I was doing more studying, because I think last year I just didn't have enough work. And the first time back at uni was really good because I had a boyfriend and I was seeing him like every weekend. So that was really my break from everything. And I was enjoying learning again. I was going onto campus every day and I was loving it. And then Christmas time came around and I was spending Christmas with my family, and it was just such a good few weeks. It was almost like a month I was at home for. But then I went back to uni after Christmas, and then of course it all happened again. And that was, as I said earlier, like that was my main major breakdown, although I had many in first year. But yeah, it was a horrible, horrible, horrible breakdown. And the worst thing was that my parents were on holiday at the time, and my boyfriend he had this massive deadline, right? So he could not leave his house because he had to get this assignment done. And I was like, so just pent up in my own emotions that I did not leave my room for a week. I'm not joking. Like, I just cried and cried. Like, I've never cried that much. I probably have, but because when you feel like it's the end of the world completely, but you've been in that bad state before and you've got through it, that's what kind of helped me through it at the end. But we all think that is the end of the world every time we get a bad spot, and we're like, this is the worst thing I've ever felt in my life, when it's not. But the worst thing is that I couldn't see my parents or my boyfriend, and I don't think like anyone really understood how bad I was feeling, because yeah, I cry a lot, and that's just not hormones. Like, I've just always cried about everything, and that's valid as well. That's just how I deal with my emotions, even though it doesn't really help. But then my boyfriend did come to see me, and if you're listening, thank you for coming because that did save me. And I didn't think he realized how much pain I was in, because he saw me and I just broke down. And I've cried in front of him before many times, mainly just about like my eating disorder. And I remember the first time I cried about that, and he was like, wow, okay. I found not the best one here. No, he probably didn't think that, but he probably thought, well, wow, okay. That's what I'm gonna say. But I just remember just seeing his face and just breaking down, and he was like, shit, okay. Because basically, like, every time I felt this way about uni, what's annoyed me the most is like my parents, my boyfriend, my sister, like everyone's always like, well, what do you mean? Like, what don't you like about uni? Like, what's the thing that makes you hate it? And I just always say, like, there is no reason. And all the research I've done, like, over the past 2 years of like, should I drop out? Should I not? It's always like, if there's no solid reason, just stick through it. And that idea scares the shit out of me, because I'm in so many different minds about it. But the two main minds is either I carry on with my course how I am right now and just push through and sacrifice my mental health and just push through because it'll be worth it in the end. Like, you've got a degree. Okay. On the other side, I'm like, no, Ellie, like, my self-care side and the person that I've grown over the last year, like, she's like, Ellie, no, you need to definitely focus on yourself right now, because although you've had like the last year to do that work, you still have always had this thing of uni and in the background, and you haven't had that time literally just to focus on you, on your own terms, for yourself, not for anyone else. So that side right now is really, really working for me because I've never really managed to focus on myself 100%. Like, sure, the past year I've done so much work on myself and I feel so much better. But since January, or like, to be fair, let me say that again. Basically, just over the winter, I just lost touch with myself. I was not going to the gym. I was not journaling. I haven't read for the last year. And in fact, I've just ordered a new like self-care book by by Vex King, which I've been wanting to read for ages, and I've read 2 of his other books and they're just brilliant. So I really just need that in my life right now, because I need another book to read and just get back into touch with myself. But basically right now how I'm feeling is just I don't know, because I was really going to miss the first 2 days of school, because yesterday, so Tuesday, we flew back from Portugal because we was on holiday and we just flew back, and I was meant to come home. It was a really early flight, so we got back at midday, and I was meant to kind of pack all my stuff up and just go. And I already said to my mum a couple of days before, like, oh, I could go Wednesday and just like chill at home on Tuesday because I'll be tired because I've got nothing on Wednesday anyway. But I remember the last day that I was in Portugal, so what was that, Monday? I say that as though it was a really long time ago, but it wasn't. But on Monday, I was just really down, and Sunday night as well, just really, really down. And it wasn't until like the end of the day, and I was like, yeah, this is about uni, isn't it? Definitely. Because I think Sunday night it was, my mum mentioned the whole year abroad thing. And so I do a languages course, which means my third year, so September, I'm meant to be going on a year abroad. So I'm meant to be going to Berlin and Zaragoza, half a semester in each, right? And since signing up to that, I've just not wanted to go. Like, nothing about it has excited me. Like, I put on a face when I'm with my friends, like, yeah, Berlin, like, yay. And when people ask me about it, like my family members, I'm like, yeah, Berlin, yay. But I've not researched the university, researched visas, researched anything about it. I've not looked at Berlin. I've not made a mood board, a vision board. I've not manifested it, like how I do with other things and other dreams, I guess. But we're going to reevaluate the whole dream concept in a little bit. But so looking back now, I've just realized that, okay, the first decision I've had to make is that I'm not doing that year abroad. And that's okay. Okay, like, I don't have to. I mean, it's highly recommended, and it's not like a decision to go. It's not like a optional year really for languages. Like, you don't have to go if there's obviously a reason, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not like sign up for this or not. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty much compulsory if you do a languages degree, as you can probably tell. But that's the first decision I've had to make, because my mum, as I was going to say, on Sunday, she mentioned, we need to talk about you going to Berlin, because from how I've like seen you the last few months, like, I don't think you want to go. And I was like, oh, I don't want to have this conversation right now. And then that just put me in like a spiral of uni again. And I'd already been thinking about possibly not going anyway. And then that kind of just settled it for me. But I got back, and in the airport on, God, that was yesterday morning, but in the airport, I was sat with my mum, and yes, it was early in the morning and I was tired and grumpy, but we started the conversation properly of potentially dropping out and potentially rethinking my life plans. And saying it like that is so scary. Like, I don't want to rethink my life. Like, that's why uni is such a safe option, because you go, you graduate, you get a graduate job, like 30k, you're going to get promotion in the first year. It's kind of like a steady life. It's a safe life in a way. You might not get that job for like a year afterwards, but you know what I mean? You're going to get a graduate job at some point. And it's very, very scary that that path is potentially not for me. Because as I said, right, I've wanted to do uni for as long as I can remember. And I've just only realized that for the last, 4 years of my life, 3 years of my life, like, that's not what I've wanted to do. And that scares the shit out of me, the fact that I just didn't realize that, and the fact that it no longer floats my boat, like, it's fucking scary when you realize that you don't love something anymore and you don't love that dream. Like, this was my biggest dream ever, is what I've been working towards and getting good grades. And I did research so much about Warwick, and it was just my dream. And then suddenly I just, no, I'm not going. And it was, well, to be fair, it's not sudden. It's just been on my mind a lot. And as I was saying, that my parents just thought, it was just me being like, not wanting to go back because I've had fun at home, and just kind of just a soft freezing each time. But they've seen, like, this is the final straw. Like, they know that every single time, like, I have to go back to uni, even if I've been at home for the weekend, I always push it off to the last moment. Like, I go like the hour before my seminar or my class, you know what I mean? Like, I go when I have to, the very last moment. And they've seen that so much, and I'm always like, oh, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. And I think this is definitely like the last straw. Not in an angry way, but I was really worried about how they would react. And I think that is such a toxic way to think about it, because I was like, I don't want to let anyone down. And thinking about that, I'm like, Ellie, you're not letting anyone down, because this is you. You need to focus on you right now. And for anyone listening, if you have felt anything similar to this, not necessarily about uni, but with anything, maybe, for example, dance, maybe you're a dancer or a footballer and you don't love the sport anymore, but you think your parents can be really mad at you if you decide to drop out. You know what I mean? Like something that you've wanted to do for so long and then you suddenly say no. Like I feel like everyone's dealt with this kind of feeling of failure, especially like from parents as well, like expectations. And yeah, it's been a very tricky one for me because my family have just always drilled it into me that uni is the best thing. And my sister is at uni right now. She's doing really, really, really well. And my brother has graduated. He's doing really well with his new job. And then there's me. And I'm literally acquiring younger child energy right now because, you know what I mean? The youngest child always goes rogue, and that's me. But yeah. But my thoughts are a lot clearer today. So yesterday was a very emotional day, and because I was just like, I should go back, I should go back, and I was gonna pack, and I was about to put everything into my car because my mum was out. But then I decided to like contact the uni and see what could happen, and luckily I got through to like the wellbeing services straight away. And I got on a call with them and then discussed things, and I'm gonna have a follow-up call with them. So I was like, right, I'm staying put for this week at least. I'll re-evaluate things come next week. And yeah, so I don't have to be back in uni. Like I've got 3 weeks of, they're just like revision seminars, and then I've got my exams. The thing on my mind right now is yesterday I kind of thought, oh yeah, I didn't have to revise anymore then, because that's also been in my mind, the fact that, oh my god, Ellie, you've done no revision, you've had 5 weeks off for Easter break and you've done no revision, like step it up. And whilst I was in Portugal last week, I woke up one morning and I was journaling and I was like, Ellie, snap out of it, get back onto your dream path and get back into this academic grind and do well, like get a first in your degree and do this, do that. And I just wrote all those like positive affirmations about it, and I was manifesting like, get through uni, you can do this, go on a year abroad, it's an amazing opportunity. And then I think back, I'm like, wow, girl, you were really trying to mask it. Like, yeah, at the moment, like I'm on my period right now. I know that. But as I said, like these are my feelings and they're completely valid. Like I don't know what to do, but I'm keeping all my options open. And I've spoken to my parents and they've been so wonderfully understanding about it, especially my dad, who I thought would be more, I guess, like pushy to carry on because that's what he's been like. He, like last year, he was the one that kept saying, just finish the year, you'll get through it. And he's kind of always had that like man up attitude. But now like he's been really, really, really nice about it, and he just genuinely understands because he sees how much I hate my time there, and I have always hated it. I'm getting a bit emotional just talking about it because, as I said, it's been my dream for so long, and the fact that it's no longer my dream is just really, really scary, and I hate it so much. But as I said in my blog post, like dreams change and that's okay. Like we outgrow them. That was a dream when I was a child. That was 8 years ago. And that makes me feel old saying that. But 8 years ago, I had this dream. And now, for the last couple of years, I've just not wanted it. And that's completely okay. And it's also okay that I've only now just figured it out. I'm not going to be mad at myself for just realizing that, even though I want to be. But I'm like, no, Ellie, be kind to yourself. Like right now, because this is probably the biggest decision I'm yet to make in my life. I've got to take a very slow, patient, gentle kind of response to it and work it out very slowly because, and like talk to loads of different people about it, get as much advice as I can. Like if I'm going to research anything right now, it's this, because this is like my life and this is setting myself up for the future without putting that pressure on myself at the same time though. But I think for me right now, in my mind, I'm thinking it's not a black and white decision. It's not like drop out or not drop out. There's so many things I could do. Like from one end of the spectrum, it's continue on the exact path you're on right now, do your year abroad, finish uni, just stay on the exact path you're on right now. But you're gonna fucking suffer, okay? But that goal is to achieve a good grade and then you can succeed in life. But then again, uni isn't the only way to succeed in life. I know so many people who have succeeded in life amazingly, and that best friend I was talking about, she's got a fabulous job. She's going to Mauritius on her job in June, I think. So next month she's going to Mauritius with her job for free, like first class, all inclusive. You know what I mean? Like she got that job and she was worried about not doing anything for years because she wasn't going to uni. So there you go. Like, you know what I mean? Good things happen. But I'm not doing this just because she managed to do that. You know what I mean? My other option is to just not do my year abroad and go straight into final year and just suffer for another year. That option is kind of like, this is like the spectrum going up, like most, like the hardest option to the like more comforting, easiest, safer option that will make me feel my best. So that's option 2. Option 3 is to just drop out completely, like this second, pretty much, and just not do my exams, not go back, just drop out and find a job. Yeah, or at least for a few months, just kind of be myself, I guess, and just try and work out what I do want. That's option 3. Option 4 is to finish my exams, get 2 years done, which is kind of like a foundation degree. It's not a degree, but you know what I mean? Like it's 2 years and you've not just dropped out, you know what I mean? Like I'm literally at the end of my year, I can put in a week of work because that will keep my mind busy as well. So, you know, just drop out completely and just not do my exams. And yeah, that is a very, very, very bad idea. So I think finishing my exams, and then if I were to drop out completely, do it then. But no, I think that idea of just dropping out right now is definitely off the cards. The next option would be to, which I think is the most viable right now, is to do my exams and then temporarily withdraw or like pause my degree. And as soon as I contacted my tutor about this yesterday, that's kind of the first thing he said. He was like, okay, let me know your next decisions, or just let me know your thought processes. If you want to drop out or pause your degree, we can help you through that. And I just love that that's what he came back with, saying like, you can do this. So I was like, oh my god, I can do that, because that's what my parents were saying. They're like, you've got to check if you are eligible to do that, because some universities are a bit more finicky about it. But I've always kind of known that Warwick is good with that. So for me, like the best option right now is for just have like a year out, and then that would make me on the same path as I was if I didn't do the year abroad. But don't put that in your mind like you're not doing the year abroad, if you know what I mean. Like just pause, and then you've still got the potential 2 years ahead of you, probably just the final year, but you've still had that kind of year out to work on yourself. And in that year out, obviously my parents have always said you've got to have a plan. You can't just live at home. You've got to do something with that year, especially because future employers will be like, so what did you do in that year? And I'll be like, I did nothing. You know what I mean? That is not good to say. But again, I'm not focusing on my future. I'm focusing on what I want and what I need in particular right now. So I need to start thinking about what I want to do during that year, and especially over the summer, because I always love having summer off, but I think the summer is the best time to start thinking about future things. Because if you say you've done something over summer, that shows, like, that goes in people's good books, because summer is time for chilling, especially when you're younger. You know what I mean? So all I know right now is that I've got a big decision to make, and it's not going to be an easy one. I've already started looking at potential jobs, which is very scary, because the whole idea of, like, I was in two minds before about my year abroad, right? And not going, and just, I was already thinking of just fast tracking to my final year. And when I thought about that, the first thing in my mind was like, shit, but then this time next year, I'll be done. And I do not want that. So that's why I think that idea is also out of the cards. So I think pausing right now would be the best option, and then just to find a job. It might just be a part-time job, you know what I mean? Like just easy job. I can't say that jobs are easy, but you know what I mean? Just not like a full-time job, because I think just getting a job for a year would be like really hard to find, which is why another dream of mine, a few months ago, or like, if actually no, for the past, like, since I was like 15, I'm like, I want to be a personal tutor, or like do the workout classes I used to do at the gym. So get like my level 3 personal trainer course, I think. I was gonna do that the summer before uni, I think, but obviously I did not do that because of my own issues with exercise, so I did not do that. And today I went to the gym with my mum for the first time in ages. We did a workout class together, and I was like, I really want to be a PT. So potentially that is something I do over the summer. Maybe I earn a bit of money beforehand through various other jobs, I don't know, and then pay my course, and then for the year, just find a job as a PT, because then you can just kind of leave that job whenever, unless there's a clause in the contract, like that's something that I could potentially do, and I could find that job reasonably easy because gyms always need more people around, I guess. So, and there's always so many gyms being open. So that is something that I could do, and to me that sounds like the most viable thing. But I've also been looking at like social media internships and jobs, because that is something that I do want to go into potentially in the future. So I don't know, I'm not necessarily using the approach of like it will come to me, like as you can tell, like I am thinking about it, because I think a few months ago, like in January, it would have just been like, no, I'm quitting and I'm just gonna see what happens, like I'm not gonna think about it. And I'm glad I pushed through, I really am. But I think it's come to the point where, like today, I woke up like, oh, let's just go back to uni. It'll be fine. But I know that tomorrow I'll wake up and be like, oh my god, no, why am I here? So I think that I just need to put my soul, my mind, my body at peace and just not put myself through that again and again, because it's just really not fair. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now, that it's okay just to be like in a different place about it and just take my time in the decision, but know that there is a decision to make, and that's not going to be carry on. Like I know that, and that's scary because like obviously my emotions go up and down, and today I'm like, no, let's just carry on. But I say that every time when I am no longer crying. So yeah, I'm just happy that my family are supportive and on board with me, and it's not a big thing, because the biggest thing has been this idea of failure and no longer wanting a dream that was just so big. But this whole concept of dream is just, dreams change. Like as I said, like we have dreams when we're kids and they are good because obviously they keep us motivated, but sometimes you put way too much pressure on that dream to keep it alive. And that's what I did, and I've realized that I haven't wanted that dream for quite a while now, and that's okay. And as even though this is a very scary thing, like, and we've always been told that uni is the thing we have to do, and now that that's kind of not on my cards like fully at the moment, it's really scary. And I just don't want to be looked down upon by my peers, by my family, whoever, because like this is for me. Like I don't care. Like of course I want to ask people for advice, but the main thing I want is for someone to tell me what to do. Like someone just to come over and say you're going to do this, and that's the end of it. But whatever anyone says, I'll not like anyway. So you know what I mean? Like it's just not going to win. But all I'm doing is just finding as much advice from people and online as I can. And really just take this time just to find myself again and be okay in myself again. Not necessarily about this, but just in general, because if this has come out, then obviously there's an imbalance in my mind somewhere, and there's a lot of anxiety. So I do need to work on that a lot. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to blurt out today, just about the fact that, yeah, this is a really big decision to make, and it takes a lot of guts to put this out online, I think, because I'm like, what will people think? But then I've learned that I don't care what people think now, especially on my social media platform. I'm just like, no, this is my platform. I use my platform more so as a diary for myself, especially the podcast. It's like I do it for me. As you can see by this episode, I'm just ranting about what is happening in my life right now. But if it helps one person out there, then I love that, because it's not like, obviously I'm an advocate for everything mental health and self-care. Like don't get me wrong, I love those things and I'll always continue to support those things, and that is why I decided to do my blog and everything. But especially my podcast, it's something for me to turn my blogs into more of a vlog, I guess, but something for me, like just to delve into topics deeper with myself and for you guys, and to, yeah, just if it helps one person, that will make my day, just because then I know that also I'm not alone as well as other people. So, like, especially this podcast and my blog is kind of like a everyone wins kind of thing. It's like a two-way street, okay? Like, if you enjoy it, then that's great for you, but that's also great for me because I feel like I've accomplished something, that I've made one person feel inspired and feel like they're not alone. And that just makes me happy that I have the power to do that, even if there's not thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners to this podcast, like the top ones, but it's still a small podcast and I still want to grow it. And that is potentially on my cards if I can put the work in to grow this, because I would love this to go further and I would love to do this as a job, part time, potentially in the future. And I don't know why, but I would love that. But anyway, it's getting quite late, so I'm gonna sign off. And if you haven't read my blog post yet about dreams and all of that, go ahead and read it. I mean, it condenses all of this, but it does put it into much clearer words because it's written, not blabbing on. So, anyway, good night, and I hope you have a good day or whenever you're listening to this. And just know that you're not alone if you're feeling something like this, or if you're feeling any other emotion right now. Like, everyone feels emotions, and I promise you there's someone else going through something very similar to you right now. So just keep that in mind, and I'm going to keep that in mind too. So anyway, goodbye.